Her name is Ann Coulter, and she is with us right now on News Radio 930 WBEN, and it is a delight, after a couple of telephone conversations, to see you in person, and thanks for making the time for us.
It's so great to see you, though I saw you on the shuttle bus yesterday or the day before.
Yeah, I was basically stalking you.
That was great.
I was expecting a restraining order, but thank God that did not happen. And let's get right to the point. You have, given your book, Adios America, and your new one, In Trump We Trust, you have a candidate that Ann Coulter could have assembled from bits and pieces of ideas in your mind. Am I correct?
Yes, you are. That's why I'm here to celebrate.
And, you've had some differences with Mr. Trump along the way. Most of them, I think, recondite, minor, not very significant.
Oh, totally minor. And that one, I don't know, your listeners probably don't care about this, but I think it's always worth making the point that the media are lying scum. And that one... For one thing, because I can defend Trump effectively, I've basically been banned from the media. If you've read Adios America, you know that it was very influential on the candidate. And then that little, fun podcast I did with Milo, and we were having a family fight about a certain retweet that our candidate had sent. We were laughing, we were happy. I'm calling him our candidate, and it's a podcast with Milo. Come on. And the way it was repeated, it was as if I said it in earnest anger, and even Ann Coulter turning against Trump. So calling candidate mental. Mental is what little kids say. That is an affectionate term. When you're making fun of someone you're on the same side of.
Certainly other more pejorative words you could have used that would have gotten you in very, very deep hot water. Let's talk about the immigration thing, because one of the issues that I'm greatly concerned about, when this country altered its immigration path in the mid-1960s, thanks in large part to Senator Kennedy, whose brother would eventually be shot by one of the guys he wanted into America, which I found a really weird irony.
Well put.
We seem to have lost our national culture. When I say the words America's national culture to you, what are some of the ideas and ideals that go through your mind? What are we losing?
Oh, we're losing so much. First of all, and this is an important part of the Trump candidacy, what's always set America apart is its enormous and affluent middle class. California was famous for it. Well, that's not California anymore, and that's going to be the whole country. Most countries... I've always thought that the reason the phrase ugly American and the idea of Americans traveling abroad, they're so tacky and loud and fat. Well, that's because the only Europeans we meet they're very rich. They're very elite. Whereas Americans used to always travel to Europe. There was always a European vacation. You can have a fabulous, wealthy, affluent life here. Well, for the Democrats to get votes and for the Republicans to provide cheap labor for their Chamber of Commerce buddies and their wealthy buddies, the country is becoming Brazil, where we will have, or California, a very, very rich, tiny, tiny top, and the rest of us will be their servants. They are just dumping the third world on this country. That's an important part, I think, for any voter. Culturally, I think for any American, although Americans are told in Chinese-style brainwashing 13 years of their lives that American culture sucks and we've oppressed the rest of the world, and these other cultures, they're so natural and wonderful, and oh boy, we hear how great they are, and you only hear trash talk about American culture. Oh, no. Look around the world. Look at what's happening to Western Europe. And a point I make, the main point I would think of Adios America, are the cultures we're importing. We have a culture that gleams and works the best, that has so much respect for women, for example, like no other culture has had, as we are seeing from the rapes, the honor killings, the clitorectomies, the child rapes. Yeah.
Sweden is just a delight these days.
And that Sweden and this is in my next book, by the way. It's on the first page of my next book, just a series of, important points. Sweden is now the rape capital of Europe. Rape used to be unheard of in Sweden. Our respect for the elderly, for children, for plants and animals. There's nothing like this country, and It's a hate crime to assimilate people to this culture.
See, that's wrong. And one of my problems, and having read Adios America, and you sent me a complimentary copy for which I'm very grateful. And Anne's new book, and I want you to buy it because I promised Anne's publicist that I would pimp
She's
this.
standing right here.
I would pimp this like a carnival shill in Trump We Trust. That's in Trump We Trust. You can get it
out
online.
August 23rd, but you get it online now.
Exactly.
Subtitle is E Pluribus Awesome.
I like that.
Thank you.
Out of many awesomeness?
Yes.
That's just incredible.
It's the Trump movement, out of many awesomeness.
But what concerns me is this. The way I see America right now, given the fact that people like you and people like myself, people like Mr. Trump, we are called divisive. And I think it is quite the contrary. We are the people who want America to be united. We
Yes.
also want a common culture and at least one dominant culture,
Yes.
because as I see us right now, we are becoming, if we're not already there, this weird dystopian version of 2016 Austro-Hungarian Empire. And
Yes.
that didn't work out well because there was no glue holding it together. We're losing our glue, Ann.
We're losing our glue. You're right. Seriously, we are. And a quote I didn't use in either book, the former Malaysian president, I forget his name, but it's sort of a famous quote. He said he was explaining why he wouldn't allow immigration. And he said, what you don't understand is when you have multi-ethnic societies, you don't have different political parties fighting. You have ethnic groups fighting. And as I pointed out before, the reason the main immigration restrictionist group in America, it's not called, Mexican suck, it's called Numbers USA. It's not that we can't bring in people from any culture and in theory assimilate them. We did it for hundreds of years, but now we are bringing in so many at once from cultures so divergent from ours, and as I say, it's become a hate crime to try to assimilate them, which is why I totally support, and I hope Trump remembers that it's in his immigration policy paper, he seems to forget sometimes, a total moratorium on immigration. It ought to be
Amen.
a trickle. Like,
Amen.
1924 to 1964, it was the most prosperous period in American history. We won 2 world wars.
Because we need assimilation. We need a
Yes.
commonality of purpose. And this has nothing to do with racism. It has nothing to do with ethnicity.
No,
it has
it's
to do
cultural.
with common core values within a framework of Americanism.
Yes, it's not cultural arrogance, or rather it's not ethnic arrogance, it is cultural arrogance, and we should be arrogant about the culture that we live in.
And maybe this is a bad question to ask you, but given the divisiveness and given the Black Lives Matter and dead police officers, if Hillary Clinton is elected, give us a synopsis of what 4 years are going to look like.
Well, I got to tell you, it's more than 4 years. I think it's the end. It's the end for what you do for a living, what I do for a living. The whole country becomes California. Republicans will never have a shot at winning another election. She will bring in, she said she wants to bring in 1 million refugees, open up the southern border. That's it. Presidential elections are decided by a few million votes. She will dump 30 million Democratic voters on the country. It's over.
And I want everybody to go online and get your book, In Trump We Trust. And when they do, give us 2 or 3 gems that they need to memorize.
I usually wait for Media Matters to read my book when it comes out and see what they're screaming about. And that's when I know that was it. That was the money line.
That is awesome. And I need to be respectful of your time. It is a delight to finally...
fist bump, because it's the Trump era.
To see you in person. And safe travels to you. You've got some great people around you. And I will let you go off.
Thank
because
you.
You have many, many hands to shake. Fists to bump.
That's right.
All right. Ann Coulter.
Thank you.
A delight and an honor, and thank you very much. Yes, I am going to ask for your autograph.
Yes, I am.
Of course, because I am that tacky. Ann Coulter with us on News Radio 930 WBEN.